Yeah.
preseason. How much do you feel like they're ready to?
Oh, we gotta play. We gotta play a game. And again, not. It's just time. They're no different than. Well, I better watch myself. That they are different than coaches, but they're excited to get going and playing somebody other than themselves. We've been doing this now since the first week of September, and they're ready to go play somebody in a different color jersey. So today was a good day.
What kind of things are you going to be looking for to know that when you get to Friday, that kind of things that you're going to analyze of, are they in the right place? Do we have to maybe adjust anything that we kind of prepare this team for to be where it needs to be?
The controllables, the discipline, effort, attitude. We're going to learn how we react to adversity, hopefully how we react to some success, shift by shift, period by period. You don't, until you go through that in a game that counts, you don't really know what that's going to be. And that's okay. They're going to be going through the same thing. So for us, it's just controlling what we get to control. And this group, up until this point, has done a really good job of that, both on and off the ice. I thought we had a great summer, and you and I have talked about that. And now they're just ready to go play. And so we'll get on a bus on Thursday, and we've got a lot of first-time things with this group. Our power play units are different. Our penalty kill units are different. It's going to be the first road trip that we've been on a bus for 6 hours for a while, and even some of the guys that have been here for a year or two haven't really gone through that. So a lot of firsts, but we're getting to hockey time. I know football's still going, and I see Gardo, and he's going through his, and volleyball is definitely hitting their stride early. Mark Johnson's got that machine well oiled, and so now we get to have our kick at the can, and we're excited about it.
Excuse me. From a team standpoint, I don't know if you can name captains yet, or like what's kind of your. I think in past years, at least last year, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you did it earlier. What's kind of your? Have you named them? What's kind of your strategy? What are you looking for? Or will you even name any this year?
Yep, that'll be done in the next probably 24, 48 hours. It'll be done before we get to Lindenwood. And I can address it right now just as far as we've got a group that I don't think there's one or two guys that stand out as someone that has all the qualities that you need in a leader. I think we've got some depth there. If you look at our ballots for what the guys were pointing to on who they'd follow, there's a few at the top, and then there's a group of probably 7 or 8 guys that all garnered not 1 or 2 votes, some significant representation where other guys are going to follow them. So I'm hoping we can lean on a bigger group than just 1, 2, or 3. So I think you'll see that throughout the season. And once we start, that'll be where we start. It might not be where we finish as far as a group of leaders. So I think that's hopefully going to be a strength of this group because of some of the things that they've already been through.
Mike, how important is captaincy to you as a hockey coach? It seems in any other sport, it's this sport more than any other. Captains mean something.
Well, yeah, absolutely. For a couple of reasons, they're your conduit to the team. They're the ones that are in the meeting after the meeting, and so, you need somebody that can deliver a message to you or their teammates in a way that resonates with them. And sometimes that's an arm around somebody or walking in the room and saying, hey, coach, you know what? Uncle, we're a little tired, or we need this, or why are we doing this? And being confident enough in themselves and having a relationship with the staff and the head coach that they can represent that group in there. And I think it'll be by numbers, but the captain that will be named here in just the next day or two is somebody that I've got a lot of confidence in, and somebody that I think can do that and be respected, in whether it's in the coach's office or the locker room. USHL, back in it was probably after the first 3-4 years, we were together for an extended period of time. He helped, won a national championship together. I remember Gads when Keith was interviewing for the Princeton job. And, I've got a lot of respect, obviously, for Godowski and what he does and what they're doing right now. But when he was at Princeton, it was no different. And I was so convinced that Keith would be on such a path in our sport that, I said, Gads, a year from now, you can come after me if you're not happy with this. Because I guarantee you, if you give him an opportunity and you look at the relationship that they've had and how long that went and what Keith had and his fingerprints that were on Princeton, and then obviously building Penn State. So my wife's going to be going on the trip. His wife's going to be there. I know they were talking last night. I was fortunate enough to be in his wedding. So, we've got a pretty good relationship, and I'm happy that he's in that spot. But I'm also, I don't want him to win a hockey game this weekend.
There's a lot of those connections in hockey, I know. But when you get to something like this where it's someone you've known for that long, do you know a little bit more about how he's going to put guys over the boards, or does he know more about how you're going to do it? How does that dynamic play into when you're getting into that chess match a little bit for those couple hours?
Well, I'd say, he's going to lean on his own experiences and the relationship that he had with Gads. And I learned when I first had an opportunity to be a head coach, there were almost all the things that I had gone through, I'd stolen from somebody else. And there were certain things that I liked and continued to utilize and use, systems, some wrinkles on power play, special teams, things like that. And then there were some things that I wanted to try myself. And he's got a good staff that he has surrounded himself with, that's got some experiences not only there but other collegiate programs, and they're bringing that to him. The one thing that you find with Keith is, hockey's hockey, and he's going to take input, but at the end of the day, he's going to run that ship the way he feels he needs to. And it's the first time for him being a head coach. And I will tell you, for me, that was one where everything's new. And so he'll be prepared. I know that. That team will be detailed in what they're doing, and so we're going to have to handle our own business.
Last week after the scrimmage, it seems like some of the younger guys, kind of made some plays and some statements. I'm curious what the response there that you've seen in the last week in terms of, maybe, you kind of touched on some of the older guys, maybe it might light some competitive juices. I'm just curious, what have you seen in the last week in terms of how what's been the response?
I appreciate you asking the question, because it's, when we talk about we've got to go through some experiences and we'll learn, you're right on the head of the nail. I thought in the scrimmage we had some of our young guys show themselves very well, and human nature kicked in. Our old guys the next day were really good, and our young guys kind of took a log off the fire. And so it was a learning experience for them, and our leadership group has done a really good job of keeping their foot on the floor since that moment. They've been the ones driving the bus, and we've just got to make sure that those young guys don't get satisfied too soon, because it was an exhibition game. And one thing about our sport, you better learn from what you just went through and go back to your basement and build your daily, because if you don't, human nature is going to crawl in and you're going to get embarrassed a little bit. And that happened for a couple of days after that exhibition game, but it was a great learning experience for our young guys.
Do you have a plan going into this weekend for goalies, how that's going to work, or how many of them you want to see for those 2 weeks?
We'll go through one more day tomorrow. I had a meeting with those guys last week and talked to them about our wishes, mine, theirs, on when they'd like to know who's playing and when. And right now we're leaning towards probably trying to make those decisions sometimes, if we're playing on a Friday, the night before. And so that I probably won't make that decision, but I will tell you I feel comfortable with their goaltending at Right now, as you and I talked last time, Castro's just through being healthy, probably isn't quite where the other two are, but he's getting there. And the other two, I feel comfortable with both of them playing. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to kind of go day by day from Thursday through the weekend.
Do you like that somebody's gotta go out there and win it, that this is not there's nothing given here, that they have to show it when they get on for those 60 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, when you, hopefully that's what's going to be here consistently moving forward, because it's the way it is at the next level, and they need to understand, just like I went through with the idea of the exhibition game that we played, or the scrimmage that we had, you've got to start back in your basement the next day, and competition is really good right now, and it's been that way through our goaltenders, our defensive core, and really the forwards that we have available for the weekend.
Hey, Coach, last week you mentioned that Bruno is a guy who, I think you said the puck just comes off his stick differently. Is he someone that you imagine making an impact immediately here early in the season?
I sure hope so. You know, in the exhibition game, he didn't have a lot of shots on net, but he scored a goal, and that has been him historically. He's not a guy that's a real, he needs a lot of volume of opportunities, a lot of volume of shots to be able to finish. So we need, our young guys can't play like young guys, and so we need Bruno to put himself in a position, as he has up till this point, to have the opportunity to go out and make an impact on a game. But he's a conscientious guy. If you ever get an opportunity to sit down and talk to him, it's really enjoyable, because I think he loves hockey, but he loves life. He's a breath of fresh air, and he brings a smile, but I'll also tell you, he can go dark on you in a hurry if he isn't getting his candy. I can say that, just because goal scorers are kind of like that. So hopefully he'll continue to put his foot to the floor here and have the opportunity that he's hoping for.
I know you've maybe been on a couple of long bus rides in your career. What's your go-to strategy for riding down 6 hours on a bus?
You know what? It's sometimes it's kind of nice. Well, the guys, as long as you feed them every 4 hours, they kind of leave you alone. So you know, we'll get that mixed when we leave. We'll have a little breakfast, and we'll stop for Tommy will get them out, and we'll stretch the legs a little bit, grab a sub sandwich, and get back on the bus. And we'll skate at Lindenwood. But really, it's an opportunity to just catch up on things, whether it's emails, video, looking at our guys that we've got committed, guys that are out there. And so there's a lot of different things, making sure that we have what we need to have prepared for that skate when we get there. And sometimes I utilize it to have some one-on-one meetings with the guys, just checking in. And so it really depends, but for the most part, just an opportunity to get some work done in a real quiet spot.